Welcome back to another episode of the Jessica Ella podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Ella. And in today's episode, I have my fiance, Gav, here with me.
Hello.
Thank you for doing this very awkward but fun episode for me.
That's all right. That's all right. It'll be fun.
All right, so we're going to go straight in with some tricky questions. First one being, what's one thing about our relationship that would shock people? Especially people who know my past and my history.
Good question. I think it might shock people like how normal it is. Like it's something that shocked me. I think when we first met up, it wasn't long before you sort of gave me a bit of an insight into everything that you'd sort of had happened to you in your life, but you just seem so normal, like communication. And I know what it is. It would have to be trust. I think from everything that's happened to you, and then even at the start when I went on my trip around Australia, the fact that you were able to trust or put trust in me and let me go on that trip and still have enough trust in me to, I guess, go off and do that and travel after everything you'd been through. Like that was something that I definitely noticed. And yeah, I think that would probably
I love that. Although I feel like I struggled with trust too. So we can talk about that later, but definitely like.
Well, I think you don't, for somebody that's been through what you've been through, I feel like they would generally have they wouldn't be able to get out of their head. Yeah. Like I feel like they would just naturally, I don't know.
Spiral.
Well, you touch a hot pan that's been on the stove and you burn yourself, and you learn pretty quickly not to go back and touch that hot stove.
But I just dove in head first with love.
Yeah. Love triumphs.
Love wins. Okay, so what was your first honest thought when you learnt about the depth of my trauma and what I'd actually been through and I told you?
Holy fuck. That's a lot. Like not in a bad way. It didn't like put me off in any regard. I think it actually did the opposite. I was like, how are you so level-headed and normal and fun and just beautiful after having so much darkness in your life?
I remember you always used to say to me, you're so level-headed. You haven't said that to me in ages. Am I not level-headed anymore? No, but you used to always say you're so level-headed, and I'd be like, thank you. I worked really hard on that.
Wow, it shows. Yeah.
Thank you. I remember telling you as well when we were in the car, and you were just like holding my hand, like squeezing my hand so tight when I was telling you everything. Yeah. It was so sweet.
Well, it was a lot to hear.
Yeah.
I think I had some idea. I think you told me other stuff, but I remember when you first sort of really dove in, and I remember that car trip, and it was it was a lot. But yeah, I just loved you even more after that, I think.
When did you realise? Oh, I feel like this has got to be actually a question for me. When did you realise you were safe with me?
Yeah, that is a question for you.
That is a question for me.
You can answer that.
Yeah, because I feel like, well, maybe there was a moment for you too where you were like, I got her. She loves me. I think I felt safe with you from the very beginning, which was why it was so confusing. Remember, I kept saying like, oh yeah, I thought we were just going to be friends. And you're like, where did you get that feeling from? But it was just because it felt like we were friends, because you felt safe. Because it just, even from our first date, we were just like...
Yeah, even though you thought we were just
going
on a friend date.
I mean, who even goes on fucking friend dates, really? But, you know...
I haven't seen you in 10 years, but let's go on a friend date.
But I was like... I think that was where I started to realise, actually it was Mum. Yeah. It was Mum that said to me, you had such a good time with that Gav guy. You were like raving about the date afterwards, about how comfortable you felt and how safe you felt and how you just were laughing the whole time. Like, why didn't you go on a second date with him? And I was like, oh yeah, that is kind of like what I wanted in a relationship. But you were also traveling, so it was kind of like, I saw you, this is going to sound so mean, but I saw you as like my trial safe guy, like getting used to what it felt like to be with a safe guy.
But then I trapped you.
But then you just made me love you, and then here we are, engaged 2 and a bit years later. When did you realise you were safe with me?
I think, I don't know. I feel like it was similar. Like, I just felt like everything was so honest, and I just felt like it was easy. Like there wasn't any issues. Like we didn't have any arguments or disagreements. I liked the way that we communicated. I like, yeah, it just, I don't know.
Just works.
It just always felt good. I'd been in other relationships in the past where, yeah, I don't know, you just notice things like, I don't know, I'd be with partners and like would get to the stage where we sort of naturally want to talk about having kids or buying a house together, and it just was something that just put me off.
Abort.
Yeah,
abort.
But with you and me, it's like it literally just naturally sort of flowed and it just felt right. And I know that when I went on my trip and the fact that we made that work, there was a time when I was on the road. I obviously missed you a lot while I was gone. But when, remember there was a time on the road and I'm like, this girl is awesome. Like, after everything she's been through, the fact that she's still hanging in there as tough as it is.
You're laughing because you're remembering the context to that memory. No. What moment made you say, this is different, this is real love? I know the moment, I think I've already told you this, when you let me do a breathwork session on you.
That was sick.
Yeah. And you were just smiling and so happy and just having like the most beautiful, peaceful experience. And I was like, damn, this guy like hasn't really got much darkness. It's not like crying or screaming and shit. This is kind of nice. I could get used to this. And then I was just looking at you. I was like, oh, I just love him.
That was cool. It's like I'd had weed gummies. I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
That was such a euphoric feeling. I love that.
Yeah. So what was your moment that you were like, this is actually different?
I think it was probably after I left. Like, I know, like, when it got closer to leaving. Actually, no, it was probably before that. It was, I think, when I went to actually go on my holiday and we sort of, like, the thought of, like, actually going and leaving, I felt sick. I felt like I was going through, like, a breakup.
Yeah. And for context, for anyone that doesn't know, Gav, when we met, he was like, this can't be serious. In 3 months' time, 4 months' time, I'm going to be traveling around Australia for 12 months with my dog. We're just going to, be traveling around Australia.
I didn't really have any plans on necessarily coming back. I was just off.
He was just winging it. He was just like full freedom. So I was kind of like, that's perfect because I don't want anything serious. I just want some experience with this said safe love and a nice guy. And yeah, I wasn't really interested either. So it kind of like developed over those few months to the point where when he left, we were like, oh, okay, what do we do here?
Yeah. I mean, I knew I didn't necessarily want to like let it go, like our relationship go, because it did feel special. But also I wasn't in a position to ask you to wait for me while I did it. And it was I knew that I needed to do that then.
Yeah.
Like it had taken me a long time to sort of get to that point where I was like, no, I need to do this trip. It's something I've always wanted to do. It changed the way I travelled, but I'm glad.
I was torn because I wanted you to do it on a human level because I had the same desires and I still do have the same desires to travel Australia and just to travel. But on like a relationship level, I was like, don't go. And I was jealous and I was like, this isn't fair. Like, why can't I go with him? But obviously I've got my beautiful boy, so I didn't.
Well, the parts where you came and joined me, and even when the boys came and we were at Mount Gambier, like that was beautiful. That was actually probably the first time I got to spend any quality time with the boys. Like, I know we had a few like beach days and stuff. That was the first time that we spent a solid week together, which was cool.
What part of me was hardest for you to love at first?
None of it.
Yeah, I feel like there's nothing hard to love about you.
I think it got hard when as I said, when I got closer to me leaving, and I felt like I had to make a decision, and I'm so grateful that you didn't put that on me. I think, yeah, that got really hard. But
yeah, that was a really bad time.
Made us stronger though. I think me being on the road, I felt like, I think you've mentioned in the past, it felt like we dove into all the hard stuff early in our relationship, and I felt like me being on the road, I truly believe that helped us with our communication. Like you sent me that app to do.
Agape.
Yeah, we got on an app called Agape, which every day it prompts you to answer a question, and the question can be about anything. It can be about, I don't know, life, communication, kids. You set in the background when you first get on the app, like what your life is, and then it just prompts you about different things. It can talk about sex life. It can talk about money, aspirations, what do you do for fun, different situations. And I felt like that really helped us stay connected.
We did it every day too.
Every day.
And it doesn't show you the other person's answer until you write your answer. So you can't just be like, oh yeah, what he said. Because you actually have to think about it. And I felt like that was really good on the road.
I've even put like I've talked about it with like at my current work with like some of the people in my team. Like that's really cool. Like we need to do that. I just felt like that really helped us like break down communication barriers, and I think we just really set ourselves up with a really strong foundation, I think.
Yeah, we definitely did. I don't think there was any like part of you that was hard to love. That wasn't a very good. It wasn't. No, it wasn't hard to love, but your disorganization when I would be like, okay, I can come and meet you. I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to be. And I'll be like, make a plan. You're just like, which is part of what I love about you is like your free-spiritedness.
Yeah.
And I have that sort of side too. Yeah. So sometimes it's like one of us has got to make a plan.
Yeah. Well, as much as I was excited to see you and have you with me the whole time, that was the hardest part for me too, trying to coordinate where I was going to be when, because I didn't have an agenda. You just wanted to go with
the flow, yeah. But that wasn't hard to love. That was just hard to navigate. You were always easy to love because you're just so easy to love. And every one of your friends and family would say exactly the same thing. Everyone who knows you. Actually, there's been people on social media who have followed me for a long time and knew you through like past jobs or things, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe the two of you were together. This is a match made in heaven. Gav's the nicest guy. You deserve this. Like literally like 5 people I can think of off the top of my head. It was very, very sweet.
Stop it.
I know, just shower you with love. Okay. If our love had a theme song, what would it be and why?
Ooh, hard one. I actually don't know.
I feel like it would be our...
I'm shocking with like song names.
Yeah. I feel like it would be the song that we talk about having at our wedding.
Yeah.
That would have to be our theme song because it's literally like come in my car and drive with me and come with me. Come away with me. Mm-hmm. Come away with me. I'm not going to sing. That's bad. Okay, that would definitely be our
I think song. There's a lot of similarities to what we actually went through in it, so yeah, it works.
What's the one thing we do that makes other couples ask, how do they do that? Communicate.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're pretty good at that.
Openly. I feel like a lot of couples like hide things or they hide parts of themselves, or they're kind of like telling people like, oh, like she does this or he does that. Whereas we just like say it to each other, and we have monthly check-ins where we have opportunities to talk about things. Yeah,
that's something else I've spoken about with people at work.
Yeah.
Just how good our communication is. I don't think I've always had that in other relationships either. Like, I haven't always been honest in other relationships, and I feel like from the start with you and me, it was like a fresh start. And yeah, I really appreciate that we're just so open and honest, and I just feel like that's everything. Like in a relationship, communication and honesty. Like you're only as good as your word, and you just got to communicate. And
that's like my DNA too. I feel like truth and speaking the truth and telling the truth and truth, even when it's hard, even when it's painful, even whatever, like, I'm very much a human lie detector, but also a big advocate for the truth.
And I love that. And it's also, helped me be more honest and open, and as I said, you just got a really good foundation from it all.
I feel like we just skipped all of like, because there's more questions here, but I feel like we just skipped like the foundations of how we actually met.
You can tell the story. You tell about it.
It's pretty funny, sorry. No, it's not funny story. So Gav used to, when we were 18, Gav dated one of my very close friends, Chloe. And
that was an awkward pause.
It was an awkward pause. And we met and we kind of like crossed paths a couple of times. But I mean,
we didn't really interact that much.
We knew who each other were, but we didn't have a lot to do with each other because when Chloe wasn't with Gav, she was partying with me. And when she was partying with me, he was off partying with his friends. So we kind of like crossed paths, knew who each other were, but didn't really know each other well at all. And actually, in the 12 months, I would say, before me and Gav actually dating back in 2022, fuck, I can't even remember what year are we? 2023.
Yeah.
Something like that. I saw you. Like, I saw you down the beach in summer and I was like, oh my gosh, there's that Gav guy that used to date Chloe. And then I saw you at the Summers General Store, and then I saw you running past the school twice, and I just kept seeing you everywhere. I'm like, this guy is showing up everywhere.
Stalking.
You, me, obviously. No, I'm kidding. And then I saw, I just kept seeing you, and then I had a dream about you. And then I was like, that's so weird that I had a dream about him. But
what kind of dream?
Anyway, I won't talk about that kind of dream. What kind of dream that was. We lived in a house in Summers and things happened. But then I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, I must just be dreaming about him because I've just seen him so many times recently. And then the weirdest thing, I was driving over to South Australia and like miles from home, like hundreds of kilometres away.
On Boxing Day?
On Boxing Day, you were on the side of the road and we were
because my trusty car broke down.
Yeah. I didn't know you were broken down. I saw your dog running around. I thought you'd like let your dog out for a wee on the side of the road. And we were driving
on the side of a freeway.
Well, I don't know. People make weird choices sometimes. But I was driving past and I was like, oh.
And she just kept driving.
There's that guy again. What the hell? I keep seeing him everywhere. That is so weird. We're like in the middle of nowhere and it just stuck in my mind. I was like, why do I keep seeing him everywhere? Didn't really think much of it. Went on with my life, ended up getting divorced. And then like 6 months later, you popped up on a dating app and I was like, no way. Yeah. Here he is again. He's single. And I think I sent you a message being like, g'day, stranger. And you had no fucking idea who I was. It wasn't until later that he actually admitted. He was like, I did not know. I knew your face, but I had no idea how I knew you until you asked me on a date. And I was like,
I have to check with Chloe. And I'm like,
check with Chloe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So long story.
I knew who, I recognized you, but I just
couldn't connect the dots.
Yeah. And I mean, everyone on the peninsula knows everyone, and
it is a small peninsula.
But yeah.
So then I asked Chloe if I could go on a date with you, and she was like, oh, yes, this is great for you. You guys would be amazing together. And then she's messaging me saying, I had this dream and like you two are going to like get married and have babies and all these things. And
that was really early.
It was really early on, and I was like, I don't think so. Like, he's traveling. It's not serious. Like, you need to chill out. And then obviously it progressed from there. So that was like the foundational story. I was having all of these little light bulb moments of like, there's that guy again. And I can see all these symbolism now looking back, and Gav was just in true fashion completely oblivious. He's like, oh, you saw me that many times? I didn't even notice you.
Makes you sound bad, but
nah, you were in a relationship too. It was weird that I was noticing you. It really, I know this is going to sound woo-woo, but it felt like the universe was like, look, he's this guy. He's important. Pay attention. He's coming. He's in chapter 77. Okay, so how did we learn? Now we can get back to the questions. How did we learn to argue safely?
I think we're both really good at being able to put ourselves in the other person's shoes. Like, we get heated and we have disagreements, and there's things that I don't know, frustrate us.
We get heated. I don't think we've ever like raised our voices.
No, not heated in not heated in that regard. I just mean like emotions. Emotions around high kind of thing. But I think we both go off, but we literally, like 10 minutes after that's happened, we go, that's stupid. And we just regulate. And then I feel like we just get on with it. And stuff which lingers, we just bring it back to it later. Like, we'll have another conversation around it and just talk about it from our perspectives. And then we just come up with steps to get over it. Again, it just comes back to communication, I think.
And I think we both realize that, like, how much we love each other and that our arguments should be moving towards a solution. I think you're better at that than me. Sometimes I just like want to prove a point, and you're like, okay, so what's the solution here? What's something we had to unlearn from past relationships to make this work? I had to unlearn like not trusting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had like big, which is so funny because we opened with that, but I felt like I did have big trust issues, and
I wouldn't have picked that up, and
it was very internal.
Yeah, no, I could understand that somebody in your position would have that, and I feel like I felt like a lot of responsibility, like that you were putting that in me too, that I didn't want to mess that up. Like, that was something that was pretty evident from the start.
I also had to unlearn, I think, the ups and downs. Like, I was really used to, and I think you probably were too, the highs and lows, like the like withdrawing of love and then like wanting to get their love again and then getting their love again and then having it withdrawn, and kind of like the chase.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like it's been a bit strange for both of us to just be with someone who just is like loving constantly, because we've always been the constant lover, I think.
Yeah.
So we're just like constantly giving each other love, and sometimes it just like makes you a bit sick. So you're like, let's just start a fight. I'm kidding. Not really. But do you know what I mean? Like I think we had to unlearn that like pattern of, I had to unlearn that pattern of like in and out, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head right now.
When one of us is triggered, what does the other do that actually helps?
I'm trying to think of a time when you were triggered. Well, I feel like we obviously talk about everything that's happening in your business almost every night. And I think sometimes you want to vent to me, and I'll try to give my 2 cents on what I might be recommending or something. And that can trigger you sometimes. And I think you just want to vent.
And I tell you now,
Yeah.
I'd be like, I actually don't need advice. I actually just wanted to tell you that it's annoying me. But
yeah, which is, I think we came up with that solution after it happened one time. And since then, it's been a lot better.
Mm.
And then I don't take it personally. I go, that's completely fine. And then I'm just more mindful about what I say. So,
yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know what I do that helps you when you're triggered, except for telling you that I can clearly see that you're very angry.
It doesn't help when you tell me.
I know.
It doesn't help when you tell me, oh, you're grumpy today. And I'm not grumpy.
When one of us is triggered, what does the other do that actually helps? I don't know. I think when you are triggered, there's been some road bumps in the last few months, and I've been there to like sort of, when you've been triggered or sort of been spiraling, to like remind you of, you know, okay, well, what matters and what are we focusing on, and how are we going to move through this, and kind of focusing on the solution rather than the problem.
Yeah.
I think I've done that with you a few times where
Yeah.
I've kind of brought you back into like the how and the why.
Yeah.
And you're very open to me doing healing sessions for you. So
I was about to say that. I think one thing that I've learned is when I get triggered, then like I sometimes need to remove myself from the situation, whether or not it's, I don't know, the boys are running around making a lot of noise or done something that's upset me. Then one thing that you've taught me is how to like regulate. So I'll sort of just go away and just regulate myself and just sort of reset and go, all right, is this really that important? And just really sort of ask it, and then I can come back in with different sort of, I don't know, energy or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And even in just like family things,
that's
work
more
things,
me,
like
not,
other things.
not helping you, but
yeah.
but you've helped me in learning how to do that.
Yeah, and in just kind of uncovering the root cause to things as well. What's something I do that makes you feel deeply seen?
Just understand me. I think we're pretty good at picking up on how the other person's feeling, and I think we're always there. I think we've got a pretty good understanding.
What's something I do that makes you feel deeply seen?
I know when you look into my eyes deeply.
Don't be Fine, I'll start that one. I feel like you just see every part of me, and you accept every part, even the parts that have been like criticized in the past. When I get like chaotic, crazy excited, I'm like waiting for you to be like, whoa, just calm down. And you're just like, I love it. Like every part of me is welcome. And I hope that I make you feel that way too.
Yeah, you do. I do. We just get each other, and it just works. And we're both there just to pump each other's tires up, and we both just want the best for each other. And there's no like hidden agendas or anything like that. It's just, we genuinely just want the other person to be happy.
What does being loved safely mean to you?
I think all the things we've just sort of covered. I think just being able to communicate, trust. I think without those two things, like, you're really in trouble. I just want to be accepted for who I am, and I also want to, with all my quirks, my goods, my bads, my in-betweens, just accept me for who I am. And I think you just genuinely want to feel like a unit, like you want to, as I said, build each other up, and you just want the best for the other person, and we're in this together through the highs and the lows, so you just got to, whatever comes your way, just deal with it together. And I think we're really good at that.
I love that. I think being loved safely, to me, the first thing that I thought of when I heard that question was like, what does being loved safely mean? For me, it was like my body. I always think about how my body feels, because I remember in every past relationship, like feeling tense and tight, and when they would come into the room, my whole body would like lock and tighten up. And when you get home, my whole body does the opposite. It relaxes. And when, you know, we always talk about like the drop, like when you hug me, there's this moment where I'm like, my whole body just relaxes. And that's to me is like the ultimate safe love. Like your body feels more safe around them than anybody else.
Yeah. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
When I hug you, I noticed like early on, or when I got back from the trip, I'd hug you, and you might not even be stressing about anything, but you just like in go mode.
Yeah.
You're in go mode, and you've had a really busy day at work, and just giving you a hug, and you just feel like your shoulders drop, and I'm sort of not holding your weight, but you can feel that tenseness just leave your body.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Such a good feeling. Yeah. I never noticed it before because obviously I hadn't really experienced it. And then I noticed it, and then I notice it now with the boys, like especially with my older son Riv. When I hug him, I notice that his body does the same after 30 seconds or so, and it's
cool.
It's very cool. I love that. What surprised you most about building a relationship with someone who does intense trauma work for a living?
I think it's amazing. I actually do. Like I think personally, I'm very fortunate that I have lived a pretty sheltered life to a lot of that stuff, and I didn't realize how common it was, and it's terrible.
What surprised you the most about building a relationship with someone who does intense trauma work for a living?
I think I've learned a lot about it since then. Like, as I said, I've lived a pretty sheltered life when it comes to trauma, and I haven't really been involved in too much of it myself, but hearing how common it is mind-blowing.
That was definitely what surprised you, that I think is the what happens to people and how often.
100%. Yeah. I just didn't realize how common it was. And also just like even now that I'm doing the course, the Aruka certification, like just learning how knowledgeable you are with it. And like I really believe that Aruka is going to be like huge. The fact that it actually makes such a difference is crazy. But I think that's probably it. It's scary how common it is and how bad it is. It's a huge issue that I just wasn't aware of. But that's probably what shocked me the most.
Yeah, that shocks a lot of people too, I think. Especially if you haven't lived in that world. Like when you live in the trauma world, you kind of just think that it's everywhere. But then there's this like other world that people live in that's like shiny rainbow land, and
that's me.
And I actually like that because I feel like I get to go there with you.
Yeah.
It's a nice place to live.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's actually ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I've had friends that have really struggled mentally, and like for their own reasons that they've or gone through traumatic things themselves. And I've always sort of liked being able to help them, and I don't like seeing people struggle. So it's one thing that excites me about doing it. Like I just want to be able to help people. I like the feeling of helping people, which I know you do too. So I think that's another thing we have in common.
Yeah, I feel like you have that naturally. Like people open up to you naturally. People feel safe and calm and comfortable around you, and you love to help. So I feel like you're going to make an amazing therapist. I can't wait till you're finished. I'm just going to let you do that in your own time. How do we hold each other accountable without shaming each other? I feel like we're both, sorry, I'm to take the lead on this one, but I feel like we're both pretty good at holding ourselves accountable.
Yeah.
It's not like we necessarily have to shame each other because we will be like, oh, you know what? Actually, I was in a bad mood, or I actually was upset about this thing, or I actually did just have an off day, or I was triggered by this thing. I'm going to work on that. Like we both take self-accountability, which means that we don't have to shame each other because we take it on ourselves.
Yeah. Carrying it's just too much effort. Like life's too busy, and I feel like if you're just carrying around that
to shame each other and tit for tat.
It's just petty. I feel like even if we have a disagreement, then or one of us is having an off day or something, and we just come back to it and we just go, all right, how do we move from this, and how do we what do we put in place so then next time one of us is feeling this way, or how can we avoid this situation moving forward? And we do that.
We don't really have the same disagreement twice. Like we move through things instead of circling on them.
100%. It's been an adjustment. Like obviously moving in with you and the boys, like I've never been in a relationship with someone with kids, and like that's been a big adjustment for me. But I feel like without it doing that with you, or without us being able to communicate and have that ability to do those things, that would be, well, I don't know that we'd be in the same position.
No, we would. And a lot of people struggle to blend families in that way because of those reasons, because of personal triggers and a lack of personal accountability for the way that they're feeling.
Yeah.
I think, and one thing that I really think about with this, like without shaming each other, is when I used to get triggered. So for context, when Gav was traveling, he makes it out like I'm an angel, but I was not an angel. I was definitely, well, I was probably not as bad as maybe, because I know you've had some pretty fun exes, but I probably wasn't as dramatic or unhinged, but I definitely felt this, like, this untrusting feeling at different times with you traveling and me having been through lots of cheating and betrayal in the past. And so what I loved was that when I was triggered or when I did do something, I would take accountability afterwards, after I'd kind of come out of the trigger and be like, I'm really sorry. I was triggered by XYZ. I'm going to work on it. And you would always meet that instead of being, which my expected response would always be like, yeah, you need to work on that. Like, this is a you issue, blah, 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 which is how I would have been met in the past. You'd be like, that's completely understandable that you would feel like that. You've been through a lot. Like, it's actually a really normal response. And like, it's good that you're working on it, but like, you know, you weren't even actually that bad. Like, you were actually pretty chill about it. And I'm like, oh, I'm not crazy. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I've always had an inkling.
Yeah.
But you meet everything without shame.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't feel like you shame people. I just feel like you're one of the most accepting people that I know. You don't shame anyone for anything.
Yeah.
Or try and make them feel bad about something they've done. So
yeah. I think also, like, with accountability, like if we're talking about, I don't know, we've got, like, we regularly talk about what we want our lives to be like, and I feel like we're both, every day we get up and we make sure we're taking steps in the right direction to create that. I feel like we keep each other accountable with that because we talk about what we're doing, but we're always pumping each other up. We're always talking like, what happens if you shift the way you're thinking about that and do, or take this approach or do that to get you to the next step. Like, I feel like we're not interested in bringing each other down, or if someone makes a mistake, it's like, that's all right. That's just a lesson. Like, you learn from your mistakes and you build from it. Or if you haven't had a successful week, okay, what can you do better next week? Like, it's always keeping each other accountable, but like pushing each other in the right direction. If
forward.
That makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely do that. And I've noticed like so much personal and business growth since we've been together, because we do have no shame and we do kind of just encourage each other and push each other forward all the time. So how do you think that we balance masculine and feminine energy in our relationship?
I do the lawns on the weekend, and you do the laundry. I hate laundry.
That is very not what the question was. That is very patriarchal, or what are we going to call that? Like, the word has left my brain. It'll come to me.
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about. But we're talking about.
I just think we have naturally a pretty good balance with it. I think
masculine leads, and masculine, you know, takes control of the situation and things. And there's been times where I felt like I've gone into masculine a little bit and become a little bit controlling, and I've kind of been like, okay, I'm just going to fully step back and let you lead this, because I want to be in my feminine. I don't want to be controlling.
Yeah.
And because we're both quite free people, sometimes we can just float around for a while and then...
But we get there.
And then we get there. But yeah, I feel like we balance that.
Yeah. I think, 100%.
What has this relationship taught you about love that you didn't know before?
That it can be easy. I just feel like it works when it's with the right person, and everything just happens. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, there's effort that goes into it, but it just doesn't have to be a struggle. You don't have to be butting heads. You don't have to be arguing all the time. Life's too short to just hold grudges and just be angry. So, yeah.
I think mine was, I went to a healing session with my friend Bridie, and like early on in our relationship, and it might have been just like when you'd got back from traveling, and I had a breathwork session with her, and I remember feeling this pull between, it was like I can either be in love and be in this relationship, maybe it was before you left, I'm not sure, or I can be free and powerful. And all I'd ever known was when you're in love with somebody, you sacrifice everything, you lose all of your power, and you just become who they want you to be, and you do everything they want you to do, and you just live for them. So it was either like you can be deeply in love, or you can be free and powerful and on your own. And it was like those two, it was just like in my mind, they couldn't coexist. Like there was no way that they could coexist. And I really wanted to challenge that. And so I challenged myself in this session to find ways they could coexist and to find that evidence. And I was like, oh my gosh. And that was where I came up with this. It was always this narrative of like, there's either love or power. And then I had this shift of like, oh my gosh, love can actually make you even more powerful. And I thought of all these examples of ways that you had made me feel more powerful, or that you had helped me with things and helped me get more power. And I was like, actually I have evidence now that love can make you more powerful, and that you can like soar even higher when in love, like, and in a relationship, because it was always like love would bring you down and suck you down this hole and like take you away from your power. And
sounds so morbid.
I know, but like it is morbid. I mean, think about my history. Like
True, yeah.
It was morbid. I think like, yeah. So it was this realization that that actually love can make you even more powerful, which is,
I like that.
Yeah, that's what I didn't know about love before, or didn't believe, didn't think could exist. Okay, so if you could tell listeners, this is our final question, one truth about creating a healthy, safe relationship after trauma, oh, this is me, what would it be? I feel like the one thing that I always come back to is that it will feel unfamiliar. Like it's what I wanted, and I know that it's what I wanted, but it felt weird. It was like,
yeah, I get that.
It was like, shouldn't there be, like, it was like there was something missing, but I couldn't put my finger on what it was. But it was like the chaos that was missing and the anxiety. And I think that like I knew that consciously because I was highly self-aware, but it was like, oh, it's actually going to feel different. And that's the best part about it, because what you've always known has been trauma.
I remember times when we were like driving to like go away for a weekend or something like that, and we were just talking, and you're like, I just feel like life's so good at the moment. I'm expecting something bad to happen.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like something bad is about to happen, and I have no control over it. I have no idea what it was.
Yeah.
And it was something that just was freaking you out.
Yeah,
and there was nothing to warrant it. It didn't.
Yeah, I mean, some of those times there was really fucked up memories that were about to come back. But that was a pattern for me of like there was always something big that was about to hit, or something that was going to come, and there'd always been one thing after the other. So I was kind of used to it. But yeah, I definitely expected the worst. Like I was expecting you to be a bad guy secretly, or to hurt me, or to not be who you said you were, or, you know, I would expect that because that's what I was used to. And I think like if you really let that take over, you can find things that actually aren't even there. But I was really good at being like, okay, this is me like self-sabotaging something that's healthy, because I always came back to my body, because when I'm around him, my whole body feels safe, and your body doesn't lie. And so I knew that it was my mind just going into chaos, trying to protect me from something that wasn't even actually there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chaos.
I think like it shows, and it's noticeable. As I said, I'm well aware of everything that you've been through in the past, and for somebody to be able to heal as much as they have, and to, as I said, be normal, and like I can tell when things are not right, or you start spiraling, and I'm able to sometimes help you with that. But the fact that you can acknowledge that most of the time and go, all right, is this a me thing, or is this something that's actually worth, like you're just good at like self-evaluating. Like it's a testament. It's a testament to Aruka and how powerful it is. It's such an incredible thing, and it's obviously it's made you who you are. It's such a big part of you, and
it definitely is.
Yeah, it's incredible. I think any one of the things that have happened to you as a child is enough to send someone on a really bad downward trajectory and possibly like enough to end a life. But the fact you've taken that and turned it into something that you're absolutely thriving in is awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So for the millions of people, not millions, but for everyone who's asking about our wedding plans and when we're going to get married, we would like to say we have no idea. We've circled the subject many times, and sometimes it ends in disagreement, and sometimes it ends in, well, we'll just see.
And so far it's ended up in us doing a kitchen reno.
Yeah, so far it's ended up in us investing in everything except for a wedding. Not because we don't very much want to be husband and wife, but because
we want it to be right.
We want it to be right. We want to do it right. We want to wait until we have the financial ability to have the wedding that we want, or get to the point where we're like, you know what, let's just have a magical elopement. We're just kind of always not really sure. That's one of those things where we're kind of floaters. We're just floating around, just trying to...
I think when the right concept or the right opportunity presents itself, we'll jump on it and we'll both know that that's right.
Yeah, definitely. So no wedding plans in the midst, but we're living a very happy, loving, abundant life.
Prosperous. What's that word? Prosperous.
Prosperous. We're living a great life in the in-between. So that's all for today. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you know someone who needs to hear our conversation for whatever reason, someone who doesn't believe that safe love can happen because they've had too much trauma, or just someone who follows on social media and wants to get a little behind the scenes, you can send them this episode. Don't forget to subscribe on whichever channel you're listening on, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for being here, Gav.
Thank you.